1,000 round debrief and after action review on the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 compact. We have a ton of sustains and improves to get to today, as well as an internal parts inspection for wear patterns. So we're just going to jump right into the after action review and the debrief. If you want to support the channel, hit the like button, leave your combat llama emojis down below, and consider donating to the ammunition fund. That fund keeps this series alive and this channel alive as I pay for all the weapons and ammunition myself and spend time editing, so consider donating to the ammunition fund. If every single video for the duration of the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 compact burn down, or also known as the American Glock, if every video gets 1,000 likes from this point forward, we will continue testing. I shouldn't give this as an option, but I will. We will continue testing on this pistol until we run out of likes or ammunition, or the whole human race is extinct because you guys are so supportive. So thank you so much for leaving your likes and your combat llama emojis down below, and leave your predictions. So let's get into the debrief and the after action review on the American Glock. And M&P bros, you guys have been awesome. Thank you for being so supportive of the project so far. We don't have the iPad of truth today. We have the notebook of truth. You can tell it's the notebook of truth because it says notebook of truth on the back of it, and I've circled it. So that's how we actually know that it is in fact the notebook of truth. First and foremost, this pistol has been cleaned and lubricated after the 1,000 round mark, and it will be cleaned and lubricated every 1,000 rounds. That way it is tested in comparison to the Palmetto State Army Dagger, the T-Sauce pistols, the Glocks, the Berettas, the Staccato, every other pistol, the Ruger RXM, all the things that have ever been tested on this channel, it will be tested in the exact same manner. Additionally, it was tested for the first 1,000 rounds in its complete stock configuration, i.e. there was no light on the gun and there was no optic on the gun. What you're seeing right now is a Holosun 507 comp that has been mounted on top of the pistol with the provided mounting plate and 2 drops of Loctite on each of the screws, as you're seeing right here, okay, per the manufacturer's guidance. So it has been installed to the exact specification of all the equipment provided. So hopefully this dot, as you can see right there, hopefully this bad Larry will survive, but it will be tested in a combat or duty rated aspect for the duration of the test with the Surefire X300 on the front of the gun, okay? It looks great, I agree, but we will get into the actual internal parts on the gun here in a little bit. Let's go into the sustains, or those are the pros for all the normal people that don't speak indoctrinated military speak. Keep in mind this channel doesn't represent the War Department or the United States Army in any way, nor does any video on the channel. Pros, sustains, trigger. The trigger is good, okay? It's better than the RXM, it's better than the Glock, it's better than the Dagger. However, I put on here that it's different. I put on my notes, it has a soft take up and a crisp break. Okay, this pistol is clear and safe, as you can see right there as it focuses, boom, okay? So let's go through this. So the trigger is a major sustain or pro. So it has a very soft take up, as you're seeing right here, okay? All that is basically, you can't really feel it. When you think of a Glock take up, it's kind of really tries to fight you a little bit. This does not. When you get on that wall though, it is very, very, very crisp. Okay, it is crisper and it is a nicer trigger than you would have on a Glock or RXM or Dagger. That is not really my opinion. It's kind of a fact because it's a lighter trigger as well, just slightly, probably a 4.5 or 4 pound trigger. Okay, easy take up, a little bit of creep, and you're there. Okay, so very nice trigger. That is a major pro or sustain for the American Glock, also known as the 2.0. They need a better naming convention, but we'll get there. The M&P, right? I'll just call it the M&P. Metal sights. The metal sights are a pro, but we're going to get into some other stuff in the cons or the improves here in a little bit. The metal sights on the pistol were a pro or a sustain, but we'll talk about them a little bit later. But just as a stock sighting system, they are a pro, but we'll have more to follow on that. It's American made. Okay, this thing does scream quality. I can say that for sure. When you're holding it, when you're looking at it, the pistol itself as an overall sustain, as you're shooting it and loading it and actually using it, it screams quality. It feels good. It definitely just gives you like the American vibes with the gun, okay? So The gun definitely just screams quality overall. There's something about having an American-made gun on the channel again. It's just nice, okay? That is a major pro. Magazines. The magazines were 100% reliable, okay? We're going to talk about magazines in a little bit in the con section, but so far, these things were 100% reliable. Now, keep in mind, the first 1,000 rounds of the test are in completely perfect, well lubricated, everything's nice, no sand, no nothing. From the 2,000 round mark to the 5,000 round mark, it is going to get crazy. This pistol is going to be dropped in the mud, in the sand, in the dirt, buried, doused in water, and the magazines will be further tested. But so far, the magazines have been 100% reliable, and they're awesome as far as a magazine. However, we're going to talk more about the mags here in a minute. For the cons, there are some not so good things that we're going to discuss when it comes to the magazine. As you can see, this thing does have federal HSCs in there, as it is my bedside gun in its current configuration, as you see right here, okay? So, magazines, 100% reliable so far. The gun itself, 100% reliable, even with female limp wristing. Nighthawk is a shooter. However, when she was shooting this pistol, a couple of the rounds, if you look at the footage, she was kind of limp wristing it. So if there was going to be a limp wristing issue, it has not occurred yet, okay? So that is even with kind of female limp or smaller statured, right? Even though Nighthawk does go to the gym and everything, but I would say female limp wristing and normal reliability has been 100% on the pistol through the 1,000 round mark. So that is obviously a major plus. It looks amazing. Tan option. The gun just looks great, right? I don't know if we've covered that, but I have it here in my notes. The gun looks really good. And if you go back, maybe I'll input some footage here, maybe I won't, from the actual first 1,000 rounds. When the gun started to smoke and started looking really cool, it just looks awesome, okay? The tan, everything. The gun just looks good, and that's a big thing. I put this up there with like the kind of the SIG M17 and FN 509 or the Glock 19X. It just looks kind of Boba Fett with that tan aesthetic, right? It just gives you those like, I'm gonna die in a trench in Eastern Europe vibes, okay? So it definitely gives you those dot mil vibes, and it's cool. Fairly priced. The pistol is, I can't talk too much because this is for Minecrafting and not selling anything, right? This is literally just me speaking objectively about what is available, common knowledge on the market. This is not me selling anything algorithm, so listen to what I'm saying, but it is fairly priced for what you get. An optics ready pistol with suppressor height, metal night sights, and a good trigger, optics ready, aggressive grip, and all the things that we've already discussed. It is fairly priced for other options on the market. Now we're going to move into the squiggly line, okay? The squiggly line, I'll show you. Boom, sneak peek at the notes. There's the squiggly line area, okay? So now we're going to move into that area. The first thing we need to discuss in the squiggly line is the grip texture. This can go either way. Nighthawk hates the grip. She hates this grip. Why? And a lot of guys, and I've seen in the comments complaining about it too. These grips are for USPSA or work, right? This is not something that you're going to be happy carrying around the house because of comfort, if that makes sense. It's comforting, not comfortable. The grip itself is very aggressive. The texturing, as you can see here, it is sandpaper. And when you're getting a good firm purchase on that gun and presenting it, it is comforting, not comfortable. So the grip can go either way. I like it. However, as far as the actual, my hands go on the gun, the way that my hands index the pistol, right here, kind of where you can see my hands are all red, the red areas on my fingertips, they do get kind of crushed with this grip is a little bit smaller than that of like a Ruger RXM, right, or a Glock. The grip is smaller, so you will, with a proper grip on the gun, you will be crushing into that hand if you have a nice firm grip. So it's just, you're gonna get shooter fatigue. You can even see where my hands are all calloused up there. You're gonna get shooter fatigue a lot faster shooting this pistol than you would with like a Glock or a dagger or even a staccato, and a staccato has a very aggressive grip on it, so that can go either way. So if you're not used to having a super aggressive grip out of the factory, you might not like this gun, like straight up. as far as like inside the waistband carry, if you're carrying it like the 4 o'clock, this thing is going to be very aggressive for you for carry in that aspect. Okay, and you can kind of see here it is textured all the way around, so you don't need any Talon grip or anything like that. It comes from the factory, extremely aggressive. Okay, so that is something that you should take note of if you're like in the market. Again, I'm not selling anything or advertising anything here because I have no sponsors, and I'm sponsored by you through the ammunition fund, because you're going to hit the like button and leave the combat llama emojis and let me know why a Bronco is in fact a truck and not an SUV. That'll get the debate going down below. But yes, no sponsors and not selling anything. But yes, you do need to be made aware that this grip, I know I've talked about it a lot, it's aggressive. Okay, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. It's 5 times as aggressive as a Glock pistol. It's a little bit less, or it's a little bit more aggressive than a Staccato. It's way more aggressive than an RXM. It's 15 times more aggressive than a Dagger. It's more aggressive than a Beretta. It's the most aggressive pistol grip out there on the market that I've ever tried. Okay, factory. So that is something that you do need to be made aware of. One more positive before we move in, because we're in the squiggly area. Press checks are easy. Okay, for load and conduct status check, which is a mandatory thing. So when you load your pistol, you should always conduct a status check to make sure you're actually loaded. If you're going to go out on patrol, on a mission, whatever you're doing, even for home defense, if you just got done cleaning your weapon, you need to always do a status check. So doing a status check with this pistol is made easy with the forward serrations right here. Okay, moving on. Accuracy. This is in the squiggly line area. Keep in mind. So we talked about the grip. We killed the grip discussion. Accuracy is iffy. Okay, I can't definitively say that the gun is not accurate. I can't say that yet. What I can say, and this is going to be a mind-blowing concept, Staccato, way more accurate than this pistol. I would say even the Glock. So far, we're only 1,000 rounds in, so don't panic. The Glock, I'll explain it to you like this. During testing, during the initial 200 rounds, right? So we did the like unboxing video, and then we did the 1,000 rounds, right? On camera. There's a 200 round intermission that I shot the pistol off camera, and I printed it on paper. There were rounds when I was shooting the irons, and it could just be the irons or it could be me, right? But when I compare it to other pistols that are similar, like a Glock 19X, for example, there are a few times when the rounds will be, imagine this is like the actual impact of the 9mm. It will be touching where you were looking and intending it to go, but just a little off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do intentional grouping exercises once we get back out to the range with the Holosun 507 comp and see if it's a me problem or a gun problem. But there were a few instances where I was like, I was telling Nighthawk, I guess some of this is off camera, the gun is printing a little bit off, not like way off, but just like slightly off. And keep in mind, I've been doing a lot of testing, Berettas, M17s, you name it. You guys have been around 1911s, Staccatos, Glocks, all the stuff, right? I've tested a ton of guns here on the channel. The Saber Dagger, never ever noticed with any of those pistols I just named, I've never noticed the gun being less accurate than me. Does that make sense? 99.9% of the time, the gun is way more accurate than me as the shooter. But what I notice is there is a little bit of inconsistency with the grouping and where it's printing. So when I get back out to the range, I'm going to do an intentional, very slow fire, intentional zeroing and grouping exercise to see if the pistol, the rifling and everything is performing perfectly. Okay, so more to follow on that. I'm not saying it's not accurate. I just want to note there's something a little bit different, off. It feels a little iffy. Okay, magazine price. I always hit on this because I do a ton of testing and I have to buy a ton of magazines for the testing. These things are expensive, okay? Compared to like a Glock or a Beretta, these things are kind of expensive. And when you have to buy a ton of them for testing, is something that I want my guys to know is they're reasonably expensive, if that makes sense. They're on the upper end. They're not like where some of the competition is down here. They're a little bit more, but they're still reasonable. But I do think that Either it's because of manufacturing in the United States, or it's because of the components they're using. The magazines are nice. I would rate them up there so far with like a Sig Sauer mag. Beretta mags are generally kind of trash. Glock mags are kind of the gold standard, and I would say Sig Sauer is kind of the gold standard as magazines. So I would rate it up there with a Sig Sauer quality, except the fact that they are kind of expensive, okay? Sig mags are more expensive though, so take that for whatever you will. Sig are about $10 to $15 more based on average, okay? And Glocks are less expensive, if you guys are kind of picking up what I'm putting down there. Cons. We're going to move into the cons, and then we'll get into the internal parts inspection. If you're 15 minutes into this video and you haven't hit the like button, there's something wrong with you. Make sure you hit the like button and let me know why a Bronco is in fact a truck and not an SUV. Okay, cons. The compact grip, okay? The compact grip, slightly too small. Magazine well is a part of the grip. Brake grip to reload is what I wrote down. So if you notice here, boom, that is actually perfect, okay? So if you notice, my pinky finger is barely hanging over the edge, right? You see that right there? And when you shoot a lot of different guns, like the Glock 19 is a perfect thing to compare this to, or the compact dagger. Or the RXM. When you compare this to those pistols, or even a Staccato, now that I'm going down a rabbit hole, when you compare it to them, those pistols, generally speaking, will have a long enough grip to be able to facilitate a full purchase on the gun comfortably, right? Now, this comes down to hand size and preference, I understand, but most of the time this isn't a factor, but with this gun it is, so I need to mention it. So when you have a magazine, okay, in the weapon, that magazine is what actually completes that grip. Now, for some of you are going to be like, well, then it's a non-issue. No, that's not the case, because then when you go to reload the pistol, what will happen is you get pinched. So you have to break your grip to get a proper reload with retention on this gun, okay? So normally you wouldn't have to break your grip because the magazine release is extremely positive and awesome. It's a major pro of the gun is the magazine, as I jettison the mag on the ground, of the gun is the magazine release. However, let me grab this thing. However, the fact that you have to break your grip on the gun it's a con. It's a negative, because that magazine is extending and actually making up for the fact that the physical grip itself, the polymer grip, is not large enough to facilitate a good high and tight master grip or combat grip on the pistol, right? Firing hand grip on the gun. So that is something you need to note if you're going to be using the gun that I'm showing you, okay? And it's normally not something we have to talk about, but with this thing, it is. It does complete the grip, and it causes you to have to adjust it for reloads with retention, okay? So just things to know on the con side of things. And maybe you're like, Trench, I have tiny hands and it doesn't affect me. Cool, but I have to report my findings, as I always do. Let's move back into sights. Okay, the suppressor height sights are not a natural point of aim with presentation on the gun. Because they are higher on the pistol, what you will have if you train a lot with other guns is you will notice your natural point of aim is slightly off due to the heightened sights. Now, a lot of guys are going to be freaking out right now and saying, well, it's for my optic and it's for my suppressor. One, why would you ever shoot a pistol with a suppressor? That is extremely cringe. Suppressors on pistols is for movies. I can't finish the joke, for other things that have occurred, okay? But suppressors and pistols, it's a cringe thing. It's a hobbyist thing. It's not something that you're ever actually going to use for a number of reasons: reliability, weight. You're never going to carry a million reasons, right? But the point is, your natural point of aim is slightly off when you're using these suppressor height sights if you're coming from any other platform. So that's something for you to know, because when I would present this gun out, my natural point of aim, I would have to adjust slightly because of those suppressor height sights. And the second I put the dot on and just was target focused and brought the gun out, no issue, dot appears right there, okay? So just something to think about for me for the suppressor height sights. The front dot. The front dot, it is now white again, as you can see, okay? Right there. Hopefully it's focusing enough for you to see. It's now white again. That's because I cleaned it. After 1,000 rounds, this thing was completely caked in carbon, and you could not see the night vision or, I guess nighttime glow in the dark tritium that's on the front sight. due to the carbon that was caked on there. So I took a Q-tip, some CLP, and cleaned it off the same way you would have to do with almost like the front of your white light, your Surefire. But just something to think about. It was a 2-dot system. After 1,000 rounds, I can only see the rear two, not the front. So just something to know if you're going to be burning it down on the range with the boys. And ambi slide release is a negative. I don't know what they're teaching people. If you want a ambi, if you're left-handed or wrong-handed and you need to move it to the other side for other pistols, do it. You did not need it on this gun. Having an ambi slide release or slide catch or whatever you want to call it, who cares, is stupid. For a modern duty handgun or a concealed carry handgun, it's stupid. You don't need it. It's a meme and it's going to cause issues because if your grip is for whatever reason high and you lock it to the rear on accident through the firing process, you don't want it. So that for me is a con. I don't need a ambi slide stop. Who is doing this? And stop with the madness. You don't need an ambi slide stop. What are you, like, trying to lock it to the rear with your firing finger? It's stupid. And if you're left-handed, they just need to release one, and maybe they do, of it on the left side of the gun, or I guess in this case the right side of the gun only, because it's ambi, and you guys get what I'm saying. And that way you can activate it if you need it for just left-handed firers, right? So you guys kind of get what I'm saying there. Moving on. Loaded chamber indicator. Kind of trash. I don't like it. Okay, the loaded chamber indicator, it needs to be easily accessible. I like the ones on the SIG and I like the ones on the Glock better than this one. I don't think the loaded or LCI, loaded chamber indicator, I don't think it serves its purpose well enough. I don't like it. Okay, additionally, the loaded chamber indicator on top where you can look down and see that where you're seeing right here, I don't like it. Okay, I just don't like it. I like the one on the SIG better. I like the one on the Glock better. I don't like the one on this, okay? So that is why it is, for me, mandatory on this gun to do a status check every time, because I don't trust the loaded chamber indicator on the gun. The plates, the provided optics plates are weak and they look bad, okay? It's a minor thing that may come up later, but they're tiny. You can't really tell from what you're looking at right now. They're tiny, 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 like baby plates. Like they feel like you could break them. If you accidentally moved them too much, you're going to ruin them. If you have one, you probably know, comment down below, but I don't like the plates that are provided. Additionally, there was no Loctite. Now, this is a little nitpicky, no Loctite and no tool to actually install an optic. Thankfully, I'm a fake gun tuber and I have a ton of stuff with me, but you know, that's just something to note, okay? So that goes over all the cons. If you got this far, now we're going to get into the internal parts inspection. Somebody leave a timestamp down below for all the guys that are like, oh my gosh, he's never going to show us the inside of the gun. I am right now. Okay, so the gun has been cleaned. And it has been lubricated, of course, re-lubricated. But what you're seeing right now is after 1,000 rounds. So we'll just I'll shut up and let you see. And all the gunsmiths and armorers, they can let us know if they're seeing anything out of the norm. Give you a few different angles of every component here. Once we get further in testing, I will give you a white light inspection on the internals, as we always do with every gun. So if it's hard to see right now, it's because that's the way it is, okay? So there's the slide, here's the barrel. All right. For the barrel, I will note the ramp right here, what you're seeing, super hard to clean compared to other pistols on the market that I've tested here. It's somewhat clean, right? What you're seeing right now, you can kind of see there's a little bit of carbon in the middle. The pistol's still gonna run, it should anyway, but it's just weird that it was so difficult to clean that. There you go, there's the rifling. Okay. Recoil spring, nothing to write home about there. And the grip module and lower. All right, so now that we've got this far through the internal inspection, you guys let me know how you think the gun is performing. If you're satisfied, you're angry because I called out your ambidextrous slide stop because it's stupid, you guys let me know in the comments below what you agree or disagree with. I'll be down there for, about 24 hours or so after this video releases to discuss things with you. Let me know what your thoughts are on the grip, because we talked about that for like freaking ever. So let me know what your thoughts are on the grip and the magazine pricing and all of this stuff. And let me know how many rounds you have through yours, and if you're on the fence, and if you have any questions about the gun. If you got this far, donate to the ammunition fund if you can afford it. $5 helps out a ton. I mean, it's literally going to go directly through the gun. You're going to see it on camera. It's a great, you donate, I shoot it, I test it. It's a good give and take, okay? Thanks for doing that. To the M&P guys, thanks for being super supportive and positive throughout the testing. It's been great testing your gun. Leave your combat llamas, do all this stuff. And until next time, this is going to be Trench Grenade, your average, another day of testing an M&P video enjoyer that your mom says that we have at home, signing out. Cheers.